Coronation Street fans, you're not ready for this. Welcome to your #1 source for exclusive spoilers, shocking twists, and daily updates from Weatherfield. There's serious pressure structure on the cobbles coming week in Coronation Street, as Maggie Driscoll finds herself at the center of growing drama, and one shocking moment leaves those closest to her questioning everything. Effects are formally strained as Maggie becomes decreasingly fixated on Megan Walsh. With feelings running grandly, she decides enough is enough and takes matters into her own hands. While Ben Driscoll and Eva try to assure themselves that staying out of it's the stylish option, hoping Will keeps his distance from Megan, it snappily becomes clear that's not the case. Unknown to them, Will is still visiting Megan at her new flat, keeping the connection veritably important alive. Maggie, still, isn't prepared to sit back and watch it unfold. Induced she needs to step by, she tracks Megan down and confronts her directly, making it clear she wants her to stay down. It's a tense hassle, and it's not long before effects escalate. Soon later, Lisa turns up to speak to Maggie with some unanticipated news. Megan has reported her to the police for assault. Maggie is quick to deny any wrongdoing, averring she hasn't done anything of the kind. Still, the situation leaves her rattled, and after being questioned further, she decides to defy Megan again, determined to get answers and clear effects up. But with feelings formerly running high, it's unclear whether this alternate meeting will make effects more or much worse. Away, the fallout is being felt by others too. Over at #1, Daniel Osborne opens up to Ken Barlow, admitting he feels fully used by Megan. He believes she was only ever interested in getting near to Will and used him as a cover. Ken is easily concerned by how bitter Daniel has come, especially as the situation continues to helical around them all. Back in the thick of it, Maggie's jest becomes harder to ignore. In a heated moment, she corners Will and pushes him for answers, induced he's still in love with Megan. She indeed goes as far as suggesting that the baby could be his, putting him forcefully on the spot. It's a violent battle, and it doesn't go unnoticed. Hearing the argument, Ben and Eva rush in, with Ben quick to defend Will and call Maggie out for her behavior. But it's what happens coming that really raises eyebrows. In the heat of the moment, Ben switches out, telling Maggie that he'd have been better off if she had failed rather of his pater. It's a harsh comment, and one that stops everything in its tracks. Rather than brushing it off or firing back, she responds in a way that leaves Ben unsettled, easily picking up on commodity that doesn't relatively add up. It's a subtle shift, but enough to make him start questioning things. With reservations beginning to form and pressures continuing to rise, Maggie suddenly finds herself under a different kind of limelight. The cobbles of Coronation Street are no stranger to conflict, but the coming days promise a storm unlike any other, as emotions boil over, loyalties fracture, and long-buried tensions finally claw their way to the surface. At the heart of it all stands Maggie Driscoll, a woman whose determination to protect those she loves begins to blur into something far more dangerous. What starts as concern steadily evolves into obsession, and as the lines between right and wrong begin to dissolve, Maggie finds herself stepping into a role she may not be able to step back from. From the outset, there is a sense that something isn't quite right. Maggie's unease around Megan Walsh doesn't come from nowhere. It builds slowly, fed by half-truths, suspicions, and a gnawing instinct she can't ignore. To Maggie, Megan represents a threat, not just to stability but to the fragile bonds holding everything together. Every glance, every whispered conversation, every unexplained absence seems to confirm her fears. While others attempt to downplay the situation, Maggie feels an urgency they cannot, or will not, see. Ben Driscoll and Eva, meanwhile, try to keep their distance from the growing chaos. Their approach is one of cautious avoidance, convincing themselves that stepping back is the safest way forward. They hope that if they don't interfere, the situation might resolve itself. Will, they believe, will eventually come to his senses and cut ties with Megan. It's a comforting illusion, but one that quickly shatters. Unbeknownst to them, Will has been quietly maintaining contact with Megan, visiting her at her new flat and keeping their connection alive. These secret meetings add fuel to an already volatile situation, creating a hidden thread that ties everything together in ways no one fully understands, yet. When the truth begins to surface, it doesn't just complicate matters, it detonates them. For Maggie, the revelation is the final push she needs. No longer willing to sit on the sidelines, she takes decisive action. Tracking Megan down, she confronts her head-on, her emotions laid bare. What follows is a charged encounter, thick with hostility and unresolved tension. Maggie's words are sharp, her intentions unmistakable, She wants Megan out of their lives, permanently. But confrontation rarely leads to resolution on these streets. Instead, it opens the door to escalation. When Lisa later arrives with news that Megan has reported Maggie to the police for assault, the situation takes a dramatic turn. Maggie is stunned, adamant that she's done nothing wrong. To her, the accusation feels like a betrayal, a manipulation designed to paint her as the villain. Yet the seed of doubt has been planted, not just in others, but within Maggie herself. As questions swirl and scrutiny intensifies, she begins to feel the pressure closing in. Her response is not to retreat, but to push forward, determined to clear her name and expose what she believes is the truth. She seeks out Megan once more, hoping for answers, but with emotions already stretched to breaking point, the outcome of their second encounter hangs precariously in the balance. Elsewhere, the ripple effects of the drama are impossible to ignore. At number 1, Daniel Osborne wrestles with his own sense of betrayal. Opening up to Ken Barlow, he admits that he feels used, convinced that Megan's interest in him was nothing more than a means to get closer to Will. His bitterness is palpable, a stark contrast to the composed figure he usually presents. Ken listens with concern, recognizing the danger of letting resentment take root. He sees how quickly situations like this can spiral, how easily people can lose themselves in anger and suspicion. But even his wisdom may not be enough to steady the storm that's already in motion. Back at the center of it all, Maggie's behavior grows increasingly difficult to defend. Her determination to uncover the truth begins to manifest in ways that unsettle those around her. In a particularly heated moment, she corners Will, demanding answers she believes only he can provide. Her accusations come fast and unfiltered, culminating in a shocking suggestion that he might still be in love with Megan, and that the baby could be his. The confrontation is intense, emotionally charged, and impossible to ignore. Voices rise, tempers flare, and the fragile equilibrium holding everything together finally shatters. Hearing the commotion, Ben and Eva rush in, desperate to intervene before things spiral further out of control. Ben, in particular, is quick to defend Will, his frustration with Maggie boiling over. What begins as an attempt to de-escalate quickly turns into something far more explosive. In a moment of raw anger, Ben lashes out with words that cut deeper than anything else said that day, telling Maggie that he would have been better off if she had died instead of his father. The room falls silent. It's the kind of statement that changes everything, a line crossed that cannot be uncrossed. For a brief moment, time seems to stand still as the weight of his words settles over everyone present. Eva is stunned, Will is shaken, but it is Maggie's reaction that truly shifts the atmosphere. Rather than responding with anger or hurt, she reacts in a way that is altogether unexpected. There is a pause, a flicker of something unspoken in her expression, something that doesn't quite align with the situation. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, but enough to catch Ben off guard. In that moment, something changes. What was once a straightforward conflict begins to take on a more complex, unsettling dimension. Ben, already reeling from his own outburst, starts to question what he's seeing. Maggie's response, or lack thereof, doesn't fit. It hints at something deeper, something hidden beneath the surface that no one has yet uncovered. As suspicions begin to form, the focus shifts. Maggie is no longer just a concerned figure caught in the middle of a messy situation. She becomes something else entirely. A question mark. A mystery. A person whose actions and reactions no longer seem predictable. The tension on the cobbles reaches new heights as each character grapples with their own emotions, their own perspectives, and their own truths. Trust becomes a fragile commodity, easily broken and difficult to rebuild. Relationships strain under the weight of secrets and accusations, and the sense that something bigger is at play grows stronger with each passing moment. Through it all, Maggie remains at the center, her journey reflecting the chaos unfolding around her. Her initial desire to protect has led her down a path she may not fully understand, one where every decision carries consequences and every confrontation reveals another layer of complexity. Encouraging words, once spoken in an attempt to steady nerves and offer reassurance, now feel hollow against the backdrop of mounting conflict. Angry threats, once dismissed as emotional outbursts, begin to carry real weight, shaping the direction of events in ways no one anticipated. And as the week unfolds, one thing becomes increasingly clear: this is no longer just about Megan, or Will, or any single incident. It's about the fractures within the community, the hidden tensions that have been quietly building, and the moment when everything finally comes to a head. In the end, the question isn't just what will happen next, it's who will be left standing when the dust settles, and whether any of them will ever truly be the same again.